Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to this video lecture series in which we are going to learn that how we can actually improve and optimize our neural network. So in the previous video lecture we have already seen that what is mini batch gradient descent algorithm, and we have seen that what is the advantage of using mini batch gradient descent method instead of using the traditional batch gradient descent method. And a very big advantage of using the mini batch gradient descent algorithm is that now you can take even a single step of the gradient descent without iterating or without even through going to the last of the entire dataset. So this gives algorithm the flexibility to take steps even without processing the entire dataset. And hence this mini batch gradient descent algorithm makes the learning faster. So now in this video lecture, we are going to understand, or in other words, we are going to analyze that how exactly the mini batch gradient descent algorithm is working faster than the batch gradient descent algorithm. Further, in the end of this video lecture, we are going to see that how we can choose the size of the mini batch, or what is exactly the technique you can use to choose the size of the mini batch so that your algorithm performs much faster. So let us continue and watch this video lecture. So the first thing that we are going to see is how does actually the training in mini batch gradient descent takes place. So the first graph here you can see that represents the training model of the batch gradient descent algorithm. So on y-axis, we plot the cost of the function, and corresponding to it on the x-axis, we plot the number of iteration. So this graph we have already seen in the previous few video lectures also. And if you use the typical traditional batch gradient descent algorithm, then what you can see that we get a graph which would be something like this. Okay, although this is not the accurate graph that we have drawn, but somewhat it would be like this, and its slope would be like this. Okay, so this is the graph of the cost function that you can draw against the number of iteration for the batch gradient descent algorithm. And in correspondence to this, if I need to draw that the graph of the mini batch gradient descent, then how would I get? So in the mini batch gradient descent algorithm, what I was exactly doing is I was now able to take I am not I am now going to take even a single step of the gradient descent algorithm without iterating over to the whole data set. Okay, so our graph would be like this. Okay, like this. Okay, so can you analyze this graph now? Okay, so this is again the graph of the cost function j, but what we have done is now we have plotted the graph of the cost function j. Okay, and this cost function is now represented as j curly braces of t. Okay, and we have drawn this graph only using x superscript curly braces of t, y superscript curly braces of t. Okay, so this has to be clearly noted, and the graph would be something like this order. Okay, now there are two three things that you need to analyze while seeing this graph. And what are they? You can see that overall the graph is going downwards, which is similar to the graph you can see in the batch gradient descent algorithm. But the another thing that you can see here, that you can see some of the noises in this graph. Okay, not some, but this graph is very much noisy, and these noises are only because you're training the model in the form of mini batches. So what is exactly happening is that suppose you have trained the first mini batch. Okay, let us suppose that you have trained the first mini batch now. So this would be like this. Okay, you have got this place. Okay, now suppose that Since the first mini batch is quite easier to carry on, so you have got a decrement in the graph. But now suppose that you have gone to the second mini batch now, and you have trained your algorithm based on the second mini batch, so you can see there is some increment in this graph. Okay, so maybe this second mini batch is quite harder to train, and that is why the graph is now showing an increasing fashion. But then again, then you trained the third mini batch, and then you can see that again the graph is decreasing now. Okay, and that goes on till you carry on your last iteration. Okay, or you carry on the training till the last mini batch. But the overall trend you can see here, that this trend shows that the overall cost is decreasing if you go on carrying out the mini batch gradient descent algorithm till the last mini batch. Okay, so these are one or two points that need to be analyzed using this graph. Okay, I hope this much is very much clear to you. Now let us move to the next slide. Okay, now the question to us is that how we can actually choose the size of the mini batch so that our algorithm performs effectively. Okay, so there are 2 3 points that have to be noted. Okay, so if mini batch size, okay, if the size of the mini batch is equal to m, and you can remember here what is the value of m. Here m is the total number of training examples that we are having. Okay, so if you choose the size of the mini batch exactly equals to m, so what it will become, this would not be now the mini batch gradient descent. Instead of this, it would again become the batch gradient descent. Okay, it would again become the batch gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and what you are exactly doing here is you are making a mini batch equal to the whole data set, that is x comma y. Okay, and suppose if the mini batch size is equal to 1, so what this basically represents is that even for the single training example, now you count it as a single mini batch. Okay, so this would be named as stochastic gradient descent. So if someone asks you that what exactly is stochastic gradient descent, then you can tell him that if you choose the size of the mini batch equals to 1, that is even a single training example, if performs like a single mini batch, then this algorithm is named as stochastic gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and here what is happening is every training example is a mini batch. Okay, so here x curly brace 1 comma y curly brace 1 is equal to x1 comma y1. Okay, I hope these notations are very much clear to you, as why we have used curly brace here, why we have used rounded brackets here. Okay, and so what we are going to do in practical life, what we are going to do is we are going to choose the size of the mini batch which is in between 1 and m. Okay, where 1 is a very small number for choosing the size of the mini batch, Okay, and m is a very large number if you can choose the size of the mini batch as m. Okay, so we never do this in real life. We never choose the size of the mini batch as 1, and we never choose the size of the mini batch as m. Okay, given some terms and condition in it. Okay, and why we exactly do this we are going to see next. Okay, now let us suppose see this contour plot. Okay, we have already seen contour plots in machine learning. Okay, and the neural networks video lecture as why we exactly draw the counter plots and what we analyze through this. Okay, now if I need to plot a contour, okay, if I need to see that how algorithm is performing if I choose the mini batch size of m. Okay, so if you choose, suppose this is the point of minima that you want to achieve using the gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and if you choose the size of the mini batch as capital M, then that would perform as the batch gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and suppose you take the iterations, start taking iterations from here. So in the initial steps the gradient descent would take large steps. Okay, but as you reach towards the global minima, then what will happen that the size of the steps would now go on decreasing. Okay, and then you will approximately reach over to the max global minima of this gradient descent counter plot. Okay, so this is the case when we are taking the mini batch size as m and it is performing as a batch gradient descent algorithm. But now suppose that I take the mini batch size of 1. Okay, that is the stochastic gradient descent case, and suppose I start to take my iterations from here. Okay, so what will happen even for the single training example, now it would take a gradient descent step. Okay, so for this it took this step, for this it took this. Okay, now suppose sometimes it is moving away from the minima, but the next time it is also moving close to the minima. So these are the kind of step it would take. Okay, but overall what you can see that it is quite revolving around the global minima, and overall it is reaching towards the global minima but not exactly pointing to the global minima. Okay, it would keep on revolving but it would never reach to the minima point. Okay, so this is the error that we can face if you use a stochastic gradient descent algorithm. Okay, and you can see that sometimes it is moving away from the global minima, but overall it will move on an average towards the global minima only. Okay, so we have seen these two cases when you choose the size of the mini batch as m and when you choose the size of the mini batch as 1. Okay, and through the counter plot also we have understood that what exactly is going to happen if you choose these two sizes. Okay, now let us take a brief look at what is going to happen now. Okay, so if you choose the batch size, okay, is equal to m. Okay, so let me draw three columns first, so this would be clear to you. So if we choose the batch size of m, okay, so what will happen as the mini batch gradient it would be a batch gradient descent algorithm and it would take too long to perform. Okay, and why it would take too long per iteration? Because even for taking a single iteration, so if you move from here to here, so you took one iteration, so for taking this single iteration also you need to iterate over to the whole data set. Okay, through all the m training example. So even if you are using vectorization here, so vectorization would not perform much effectively here. Okay, and if you choose the opposite, if you choose the batch size is equals to 1, this is opposite to the case if we use the batch size of m. Okay, so again in this method also in the stochastic gradient descent you would not get very much effective result as you would generally lose the speed up from vectorization. Okay, so vectorization would generally not perform well if you choose the batch size of 1. Okay, because for even taking a single step, what you took the training of a single training example as a mini batch. Okay, so vectorization would not perform effectively in this case. And now we are going to see the optimal case, that is you choose the value which is in between 1 and m. Okay, so if you choose a value which is in between 1 and m, so in this case what will happen? In this case, this is generally giving you the fastest result. Okay, and there are two things that benefits us. The first is vectorization. Okay, so suppose that you are choosing the size of the mini batch to be approximately equal to 100 training 1000 training examples. So now the vectorization is performing over through 1000 training example, and it is often seen that instead of performing the vectorization over to a single training example, or the opposite case, if you take the whole data set to perform vectorization, then if you take 1000 iterations or you take 1000 training examples during vectorization, then this performs a much faster way. Okay, and another advantage that you get in choosing a value between 1 to m is it makes sure that you can now take the single step of the gradient descent without processing the whole data set. Okay, so take a single step without processing the whole data set. Okay, so this is an added advantage if you choose the size of the mini batch in between 1 to m. Okay, so I hope this much is clear to you. Okay, so now let's move on and typically see that, okay, we have understood that you need not to take the batch size as m, which is which is termed as the batch gradient descent, and you could never take the size of the batch equal to one training example, which is called as stochastic gradient descent. So if you need to choose the size in between 1 to m, then the question to your mind should be that what exactly should be the size that we need to choose in order to see that our learning becomes faster. Okay, so there are 2 3 points that you need to note here. Okay, the first point is that if you have a small data set, okay, if we have a small data set, then what we can do, we can use the batch gradient descent only. And you may ask that what do you mean exactly by a small data set? Okay, so an approximation can be that if you have the number of training examples less than equal to approximately 2000 or 3000, okay, then you can say that it is a r- comparatively small data set in terms of the deep learning. Okay, why? Because for deep learning algorithms, if you take the data set size of approximately 2000 or 3000 or 5000, then this is a quite smaller data set. Okay, and if this kind of scenario is there, then you can use the normal batch gradient descent algorithm. Okay, where your batch size equal to all the m training examples only. Okay, and it would give you a best result. Okay, now if your data set is large, for example, if you have millions of training examples, okay, so if you have millions of training examples, then in this case, typically it is often recommended that You take the batch size in powers of 2. Why in powers of 2? So suppose you can take the batch size as 64 or 128 or 256 or 512, and that will go on. Okay, so 64 is approximately or exactly equals to, sorry, 2 to the power of 6, it's 2 to the power of 7, it's 2 to the power of 8, it's 2 to the power of 9, and if you write 1024, it's 2 to the power of 10. So you can choose the size of the mini batch in powers of 2. Why powers of 2? Because it is often researched and analyzed that our memory is arranged in powers of 2. And if you use the size of the mini batches in the powers of 2, then it would generally give very effective results. Okay. And algorithm would perform much faster. Okay. And one thing that has to be kept in mind while choosing the size of the mini batches is that you should always make sure, okay, you should always make sure that the mini batch file size in should be in range of CPU oblique GPU memory. Okay. Okay. So whatever is the mini batch that you are choosing, okay, that should be under the range of the CPU oblique GPU memory, whatever you are using for training your learning algorithm. Okay. So I hope this much is very clear to you. And I hope this video lecture would have been very much informative to you. If you really like this video lecture, then hit on the like button. If you have any doubts regarding this video lecture, then you can write it in the comment section given below. You can share my video lectures among your community, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel also. So as soon as a new lecture is uploaded, then you would be informed for that. Thank you and have a nice day.